When we talk about the Sega Saturn, many good games come to mind. We have Daytona USA, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Virtua Fighter 2, and many others. But today, let's talk about some hidden Japanese Sega Saturn gems that you absolutely have to pick up and play today. Hey friends, welcome to Polygon Legends. I'm your host, Serge. Today, let's go ahead and dive into some Sega Saturn gems that were mostly overlooked by everyone outside of Japan, according to the statistics that I looked up. Well, mainly GameSpot. We're going to talk about one awesome translated game, and we're going to talk about a few shooters that I absolutely love, and I think you will as well. By the way, thanks for watching my channel. And if you're into retro gaming, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It helps me get my channel to more retro gamers just like you. So let's get to it, shall we? Now, for those of us who've never actually seen or played a Sega Saturn, I highly recommend you get one. It came out around the time of PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64, and there are just some awesome games that were missed out by a lot of people because the Sega Saturn was just not that popular here in the US. Now, I have another video where I cover some of my favorite North American releases, but today we're going to talk about some hidden gems that never made it to North America. By the way, I recommend that you get a Saroo flash cart. This thing has been awesome, and for retro collectors like me, you can put all your games on this little SD card, and it just makes it so easy to jump in and dive in and play your games. There's no additional modding to your Sega Saturn. You don't have to take out the CD drive, although there are some other options where you can take out the CD drive if you want to. The mode is supposed to be really good, and it's supposed to have amazing compatibility. I have one. I haven't installed it yet, but I look forward to doing that. But for now, this cart right here, pretty cheap online, and it gets the job done for most of the games. Not every game loads, of course, but I know through time that's going to change with updates and all that. Anyways, let's get started. So the first game that I want to talk about is called Bulk Slash. Now, Bulk Slash was brought to my attention by someone who left a comment in one of my videos. Actually, this person was actually on the translation team that helped bring this translated version over to us. And so I went ahead and found it. I checked it out. I absolutely love the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Bulk Slash was originally released for the Sega Saturn back in Japan in 1997. It was published by Hudson Soft, who's also responsible for the Bomberman series. I can't believe we never got a port of this fantastic game. You control a mech that not only walks around, but flies around, giving you a lot of freedom in how you want to tackle the goals. The gameplay is quite simple, and you basically have to destroy a number of objects in each level, followed by a big boss at the end of the level. And the bosses are huge. Your mech is super powerful though, and you have missiles that lock onto it, so it's not too challenging. The translation team did an amazing job with translating the game's text, and they even added in some new English dubbing, and it just sounds amazing. If you look up the fan translation of this game, I'm sure you will love it. Now the next game I want to talk about is a flying game. It's a shooter. It's called Metal Black. I don't know if you've heard of this game, but you absolutely have to check it out. The background graphics anyways are pretty gorgeous. What's interesting about Metal Black is that it was originally developed as an arcade game back in 1991, and then it was released later on for the Sega Saturn in 1996. So like every other shooter, you fly around in your spacecraft and you have to shoot down waves of alien enemies and other enemy fighters, it looks like. Now the weapon systems in this game are pretty unique. It's not like other games where you get bombs and you get power-ups, which I enjoy in many other games. In this one, you've got like a unique beam that you fall into a power struggle against bosses, like it's your beam against their beam. So you spend your time building up your beam by grabbing all these little balls that float around. They look like molecules of some sort, or it's definitely an interesting take on the genre. So there are 6 stages in total, and the story definitely feels like very post-apocalyptic, very sci-fi. You can definitely tell that this game is a product of the 90s, and I really enjoy looking at the interesting backgrounds that they've created. And I think it's a fun game, and you should give it a shot. So go ahead and look up Metal Black, add it to your Saroo cart, and have fun. Up next, we have Gunbird. Gunbird is a pretty cool shooter. You get to choose from 1 out of 5 different characters, and you fly around and you collect different power-ups to build up your beam, and you also have bombs that you can drop on enemies. Now, the graphics are incredible for its time on this game. The animations are superb, and the game it's not too hard to where you want to get frustrated, but it definitely keeps you on your toes. There are definitely a few moments to where like the whole screen is overloaded with bullets and it's really hard to figure out how to survive. But overall, the game's pretty fun. Later on, this game was released in the US on the PlayStation, but we're talking about Saturn games that weren't released on the American Saturn, so that's why we're talking about Gunbird here. The cutscenes between the battles are pretty cute, and I haven't beaten the game yet, but it looks like this lady keeps getting closer and closer to undressing the further you go. So if you want to see what happens with that, just keep playing. Another interesting thing about this game is that it was developed by a company called Sega, which I love their shooters, and they are actually the team that used to work for Intelligent Systems, and they left to create Sega. So that's why this game's so awesome. Go ahead and check it out. I think you're gonna like it if you love shoot 'em ups. So what do you all think? Are you gonna get any of these games and try them out? I sure hope you do. And which one was your favorite? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'm definitely gonna do a complete playthrough of Bulk Slash because that game is just so much fun. I've only gone through the first 2 levels so far, but the voice acting, everything is just brilliant about that game. And I'm going to do a video on the whole thing soon as well. And also let me know if you have any recommendations for Saturn games that I should play, because I'm always open to recommendations from you guys. In my next upcoming videos, I'm also going to cover the best SNK games that came out on the Saturn. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with SNK, but Neo Geo, they had like some of the most awesome arcade games back in the late 80s and the early 90s, and a lot of their ports over to the Saturn were actually pretty perfect. And I also want to do another video on Capcom games that came out on the Saturn. Those were also arcade perfect from what I understand. So I look forward to playing some of those and giving those a shot. Well, that's it for today, my friends. Thanks for watching Polygon Legends, and if you like this video, go ahead and like it and subscribe. I hope to catch you on the next one. Don't forget to take care of yourself as well. See you later, gamers.